Cool. Hi, Catherine. So, hello, I suppose. Anyway, this is... This is Dan talking about swing. I guess we're gonna sorta do one of these, because that's a lot of, like, random space above my head, and it makes me feel weird. So, I actually did like an hour of this last night, and then the computer, it turned out, had not actually recorded it, which is annoying. But what was good is that it gave me the time to, like, think about what I had said and what I had done, and then I made little notes for myself. So now you have a much better experience coming at you. So I'm gonna go back to my little chair. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna talk about stuff, and then I'm gonna play a couple of different types of tunes, so you can see, like, oh, that's what he was talking about, because he explained it terribly. Oh, I said this the first time too, and it's a good remark that I wanted to keep for this one too. If anything dodgy or circumspect comes out of this whole thing, you listen to Kira, because she knows more than I do about everything. So that seems like a good general piece of advice, a caveat, if you will. But in any case, what I really wanted to talk about was how bows move vertically and horizontally, you know? Your bow goes whoop, back and forth across strings, but it also goes up and down, like that. Ooh, sweet. And so you can get a lot by making sure that you move your bow not only in one direction, but in two. So you can probably see my hand, it's like whoop, going up and down as I go across the strings. And you can hear that little gradation in pitch and tone, which is a lot of the swing. So when you want to emphasize something, you increase speed a bit, and you increase pressure, but also you can literally move your hand up and down. And I always do. So a lot of the time on those big notes, you can sort of see what's going on. It's like a whoosh, like a crescent upward kind of thing. Also because I play a lot of up bows, which is just a me thing. A good place to listen to this would be fourth finger unisons, because they're a very literal way of realizing, like, you can really hear it, because at one point you're only hitting one string, and then you're hitting both, you know? So that's that hand moving up and down, which gets at the pulse as well as the actual sound. And it can be as subtle as, like, or as dramatic as you want, like, you know? So that's something to think about. I use variations that force me to, like, to emphasize that swing. So when, well, I'll play a polka for you later, and, it goes like, I like to play it like this. You know, just that, because it forces me to cross strings, and it forces me to move my hand in new and different and exciting ways. So that's something to think about too. Also because you've asked me about variations before, and that's one way to think about doing them. Also, like I mentioned before, use up bows. Up bows are fun and cool, and people don't use them enough. And they're a good way to, I don't know, they're fun, and it's a good thing to have in your repertoire, and you'll look a lot different from everyone else around you, because they'll all be doing down most of the time. This is something that I was thinking about a lot. Keep the bow moving. You know, It's like anytime that you move in this direction and then you immediately move back in that direction, you have to stop at some point in between. But what you want is like continuous sound, like the pipes, presumably. And so, just don't let there be dead space. Just always keep your bow moving somehow. And one of the things to think about was, like when you're doing a single long note, sort of, don't just like, okay, that's great. Like, hold notes and shake them with that bow a bit, like. And I'll play that sort of thing a lot in the tunes which I play. Use long bow strokes, especially in polkas and slides, but in general, long bow strokes are fun and cool, especially if they're long up bows. And they give you time to play with all those things like, where's my hand, and how quick is my bow moving, and how much pressure am I putting in, and what direction is it moving, and things like that. Give yourself time to think about those sort of things. And you can do that with big long bow strokes. Which also brings me to the point, slur. Slurring prevents the breaking of sound, which is cool. Don't do it so much that it becomes messy, but, in jigs, slur 3 notes at a time. Just go for it. In reels, you can do an entire 4-note sequence all on one bow. I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time, but a lot of the time. And it's something that you'll actually notice about Sliabh Luachra jigs. They tend to be a bit straighter than most jigs. They have swing, but not so much bounce. You can play jigs like. Like a lot of do-do-do-do-do-do-do, sort of ridiculous shenanigans, but Sliabh Luachra jigs are much smoother with their swing, so I'll play more later on so you can sort of get that. And cuts are your best friend, because they mean that you can change notes without changing bow strokes. So that's always good and grand and important and great.